Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. The senators in attendance will stand and be led in prayer by the Reverend Dr. Carrie Kincannon, Rising Hope Mission Church, Alexandria, Virginia. The senators will remain standing and be led in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America by Senate Page Janie Fair Pennington.
Let us pray. God, our Creator and Redeemer, we follow you because we trust you to lead us to an abundant life. Where there is pain, you bring healing. Where there is mistrust, you bring hope. Where there is estrangement, you bring reconciliation. Where there is sin, you show the way to transformation. Forgive us, we pray, for the sins of our nation and our commonwealth and our individual sins, past and present, that have caused great pain and suffering to many. Give us the awareness to admit where we have sinned as a commonwealth and as individuals, and give us the maturity to seek accountability, forgiveness, reconciliation, and restitution. And in these contentious days, Lord, give us the faith to offer forgiveness, trusting that in following your path, we and the commonwealth we all so love will be strengthened and restored, not diminished. Be with this assembly of leaders and with all of us to provide confidence and vision for the future of our state and country. Amen. There's a copy of that. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk will call the roll. All those present will please record their vote aye. The clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Mr. President.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Senate Journal for Thursday, February 14, 2019.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howe, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of waiving the reading of the journal will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 33, noes 5.
Ayes 33, noes 5. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communication from the House of Delegates. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Good morning, Senator.
I respectfully move that we waive the reading of any communications received from the House of Delegates, sir.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates be waived? All in favor of waiving the reading will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 3.
Ayes 35, noes 3. The reading of the communication from the House of Delegates is waived. The clerk will report any communication from the governor.
We do not have any, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now comes a time in the morning hour where we have the honor and privilege and pleasure of welcoming our distinguished guests here with us in the Senate gallery. I will give my daily reminder that the way this will proceed is that a senator will stand up, recognize an individual or group. I will then offer the warm welcome of the Senate, and at the very end, we will all clap together. So I'd like to begin today by calling on the senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Surville.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
Thanks, Senator. You have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, starting us off this morning with our morning prayer, we have Reverend Carrie Kincannon. Reverend Kincannon is a constituent of mine. He grew up in Fort Hunt like I did. He's went to Virginia Wesleyan University, and he also got his doctorate in ministry from Wesley Theological Seminary. He's the minister at Rising Hope Methodist Mission Church on the Route 1 corridor. That's a church. It's a pretty unique place in our community. It actually ministers to both the homeless and sort of the formerly homeless down and out types on Route 1, and they do a wonderful job. They run a hypothermia shelter, which saves lives every single year. They have job retraining. They have a food bank. They've got a community closet. But our community would not be the place that it is without all the work that Reverend Kincannon and his parishioners do to sort of save folks through faith and redemption and charity in the Route 1 corridor. And Mr. President, I would hope you give Reverend Kincannon the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would Reverend Dr. Kerry Kincannon please rise in the gallery? Dr. Kincannon, thank you once again for being here with us today. Thank you for that really eloquent and beautiful prayer. I thought it set a wonderful tone, and we also deeply appreciate your commitment to the community, to helping those less fortunate, and helping to show God in your works. And so it's a very powerful statement. Give our best to your wonderful congregation, and we echo the eloquent words of the Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Survell. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our friend, Dr. Kerry Kincannon. Senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning.
Good morning, Senator.
Mr. President, I rise for an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, in the gallery today, we have Brandon Bass, who is a constituent of mine, and he's the battalion chief for the Fredericksburg City Fire Department. We also have Christina Dempsey, who many of you all have gotten to know over the past year. She's been a tireless advocate for hands-free driving. And I would just personally want to thank Christina. She suffered a pretty significant family tragedy, and rather than focusing on the negative, she really turned it into a positive, and she went out and she has tirelessly advocated this General Assembly to make a change for the better, and may be that this year we're going to see that change. And so, Mr. President, I would ask that you give Brandon and Christina the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would our friends Brandon Bass and Christina Dempsey please rise to the gallery if you are able? Christina and Brandon, thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for your leadership in the Commonwealth of Virginia in some very important areas. As Chief, thank you for what you do, Fire and EMS, our first responders, our brave heroes, and we're so grateful for what you do every single day for all of our families. And Christina, heroes come in many forms, and you obviously are one, and you've turned pain into purpose, and really is a testament to your character, to your commitment on behalf of others. So thank you for your advocacy and for your work. We echo the eloquent and generous words of the Senator from King George, Senator Stewart. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our friends Brandon Bass and Christina Dempsey. Senator from Loudoun, Senator Black.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for two purposes. First, I would ask that the Journal reflect that the gentlelady from Fauquier County is away on pressing personal business.
Thank you, Senator. Journal will so note.
And secondly, I rise for an introduction.
The Senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very pleased that today I have two very dear friends of mine. The first is Supervisor Gary Higgins. Gary Higgins he is on the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors. He's in his second term, the chairman of the Transportation and Land Use Committee. He previously was on the school board for 4 years. Very, very engaging and delightful individual, very popular throughout the county, and a very good friend. And So I'm very pleased to have him here with us. He is accompanied by Stacy Carey, who is his chief of staff. She's been with him for, I guess, she's into the second election period, and Stacey Carey has been a strong supporter of mine for many years, very active in my campaigns, and just a very capable individual overall. So I'm just delighted to have them both here. They're wonderful people. They're dear friends, and I hope that we will give them the warmest greeting of the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would Supervisor Gary Higgins and Stacey Carey please rise in the gallery if you are able? Supervisor, Stacey, thank you all so much for joining us here today in the Senate. We are honored by your presence and deeply grateful for your work in Loudoun County on behalf of that wonderful jurisdiction. It's growing, it's thriving, and it's great to have leaders who have taken charge and created opportunity for everybody. So we echo the generous and warm, eloquent words of the Senator from Loudoun, Senator Black. You're welcome back here anytime. Say hello to our friends in Loudoun County for us. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to Supervisor Gary Higgins and Stacey Carey. Senator from Northwestern Fairfax, Senator Boysko.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for an introduction.
Thank the Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, today we have my constituent and the proud dad of our page, Megan Magoon, Brock Magoon, who is sitting up in the gallery. I ask you to give him a warm welcome. He started his political career back in 1991 when he served coffee to all the different precincts for our majority leader's first race, I understand. So he's been trained well, but he's also a public servant. And as I said, a very proud dad. Got to be here last night to watch Megan and the Pages do their mock session. And I hope it'll be the pleasure of our president to give him a warm Senate welcome.
I thank the Senator. Would Brock Magoon please rise in the gallery if you are able? Brock, thank you so much for being here with us today. We are grateful for your presence and also grateful to you and to your family for allowing Megan to be such a special part of the Senate Page class. I'm sure that you enjoyed getting to see her and were a proud, beaming dad watching the great work that she's done here. And she's got a very bright future. So you guys have raised a wonderful daughter. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our friend Brock Magoon. Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
Mr. President, I rise for an introduction.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Mr. President, in the gallery today is Teresa Champion, who has had a long, dedicated effort that has leading this year to the adoption of coverage for autism services for individuals all the way through age 18 and eliminating the age barriers that have been there in the past. She is someone who has done this with passion, with determination, with dedication, with perseverance, and with a lot of knowledge on a lot of different issues, and been a very effective advocate. She gave me a list of all the bills from 2008 through 2019 that have gotten us to this point. I don't want to take up the rest of the day reading all of them, but we're finally getting there this year. And she's been with the Virginia Autism Project, but has also coordinated things with Autism Speaks, the Autism Society, the Arc of Virginia, and a whole host of individuals and families who have worked on this project. I think we are all much better educated now than we were back in 2008 when this whole effort started in terms of the situation faced by people and families that have someone with autism. And I think that we're moving in the right direction to be able to provide the services for them. And I hope it'd be your pleasure to give her the warm welcome to the Senate.
I thank the Senator. Would our friend Teresa Champion please rise in the gallery if you are able? Teresa, thank you so much for joining us here today. Thank you also for your tremendous advocacy on behalf of so many families in the Commonwealth of Virginia and really around the country to better understand issues around autism and to help people to thrive, even who find themselves dealing with that very, very prevalent issue. And so you have been a champion for so many people. So you're aptly named, and we echo the eloquent and generous words of the Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker. Your perseverance, your care and commitment to other people is really an inspiration and something that I think is going to inspire a lot of people to get involved. And so I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warmest welcome of the Senate to our friend Teresa Champion. Do any other senators wish to be recognized for purposes of an introduction? Is there any other business to come in the morning hour? Seeing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Friday, February 15, 2019. Page 5, unfinished business House. House Bill 1733. The House has rejected the Senate substitute.
Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I move that we insist on our amendment and request a committee of conference.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate insist on its amendment and request a committee of conference? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate insists on its amendment and requests a committee of conference.
House Bill 1818. The House has rejected the Senate substitute.
Senator from Grayson, Senator Carrico.
Mr. President, I move that we insist on our amendments and ask for a committee of conference.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate insist on its amendment and request a committee of conference? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 3.
Ayes 36, noes 3. The Senate insists on its amendment and requests a committee of conference.
House Bill 2059. The House has rejected the Senate amendments.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that we insist on our amendments and request a committee of conference.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate insist on its amendments and request a committee of conference? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 0.
Ayes 38, noes 0. The Senate insists on its amendments and requests a committee of conference.
House Bill 2750. The House has rejected the Senate substitute.
Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I move that we insist on our committee substitute and request a committee of conference.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate insist on its substitute and request a committee of conference? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate insists on its substitute and requests a committee of conference.
We are awaiting House action on House Bill 2060, unfinished business Senate. Senate Bill 1018 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that we concur with the House substitute.
Senator has the floor.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President. In this bill, this was a bill that was requested by the registrars, and simply what it's doing is it's saying that in the event that a rural area may not have a GIS map, they can actually request one from the State Board of Elections.
Right. Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 4.
Ayes 35, noes 4. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1079 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Northern Chesapeake, Senator Spruill.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we accept the House substitute.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President and members, according to my experts are looking at it, if there's technical in nature, they're pretty much the same, except they're technical in nature, so I move we approve it.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1118 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that we reject the House substitute and put this one into conference.
Senator, want to speak to that?
Sure. This is the higher education bill, the public comment. The House added a little bit more language and criteria to it, which I think is going to make it more complicated, not less complicated. So I think we can work this out in conference. So, again, with a request that we reject the House substitute, I move that we accept it.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the House substitute be concurred with by the Senate? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? It's Friday. The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1161 is passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the Senate concur with the House substitute, which are technical amendments. The amendments are technical in nature.
Right. Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1188 is passed the House with amendments.
Senator from Petersburg, Senator Dance.
I accept the House amendments.
Senator, want to speak to that?
One minute. No, I got it. Sorry. I got it. They're helping me over here. I move the adoption of the House amendments and speaking to that motion, Mr.
Senator,
President.
absolutely.
These line amendments are technical in nature and simply amend lines 87 and 108 to strike unnecessary language. And I move the adoption of the House amendments.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendments.
Senate Bill 1214 is passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I request that we reject the House amendment substitute. I thought we had worked this out in committee, but apparently the message didn't get there. So.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1234 is passed the House with a substitute.
Junior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator D. Staff.
Mr. President, I request we concur with the House substitute.
Senator, want to speak to that?
It looks like they just did a grammatical change. They put a little hyphen after members.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1253 is passed the House with amendment.
Senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the recommendation that we reject the amendment, speaking to that.
Senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bill is, the reason I'm asking to reject it, even though it's on the proper path, this is for the chairman of Senate Finance. They took the clause off. We found out within the last 2 days that there could be an issue with regard with the credit freeze for juveniles from 16 to 18, and I've got to get the bill into conference. Thus, the floor amendment we'll see later on the uncontested House Bill 1730 to get it in the posture where we can get the two bills fixed and back through. So with the recommendation we reject, I ask that we concur with the House amendment.
Thank the senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 37.
Ayes 0, noes 37. The Senate does not concur with the House amendment.
Senate Bill 1257 has passed the House with amendment.
From Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm standing in for the senator of this, the patron of this bill, so you can call me Stunt Vogel if you'd like. Mr. President, members of the Senate, I got word from Senator Vogel that she requests that we concur with the House amendment, unfortunately, but all they did was rip the dreaded Senate Finance clause off of it, so she thinks it's in fine shape. So with that, I now move that we concur with the House amendment.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendment.
Senate Bill 1270 has passed the House with amendment.
Senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd move we concur with the amendment. Speaking to that.
Thank the senator. You have the floor.
Mr. President, this was the enacting legislation for the constitutional amendment that the voters adopted this past year. And all they did was add in of the Code of Virginia after Section 58.1, so it's just clarifying.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendment.
Senate Bill 1277 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we concur with the House substitute, and speaking to that.
Senator has the floor.
This is the bill that deals with what happens when there's a disaster that results in a facility having to, a nursing home or hospital or other type of facility, medical facility having to be closed temporarily, and the patients move to a different facility. The bills that came through exempted them from the certificate of need process for that temporary increase in beds at the second facility. What this does is make sure that nobody argues that they're not licensed for that number of beds. So it's a very simple and straightforward thing.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1286 has passed the House with amendments.
Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
Thank you, Mr. President. And with a recommendation that it be rejected, I make the motion that we concur with the House amendment on this bill. This is a bill that would, in effect, move some individuals from state mental health hospitals and other types of settings into auxiliary grant beds that are available. It would save the Commonwealth substantial amounts of money and provide benefits and better services by getting people into supportive housing rather than leaving them in a facility they no longer need to be in. What the House did was reduce the number of people who could benefit from that. I'm in favor of saving us more money rather than saving us less money, so I want to get this bill into back to the way it was. So with that, I would hope that the body would vote no on concurring with House amendment.
Thank the senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 1, noes 38.
Ayes 1, noes 38. The Senate does not concur with the House amendments.
Senate Bill 1406 is passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Petersburg, Senator Dance.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the adoption of the House substitute and speaking to the motion.
Thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Mr. President, the original language laid out a 3-year commitment to establish the 1 to 250 ratio for school counselors. The amended language reflects year 1 of that commitment due to the practicalities of appropriating on a 1-year cycle. All parties are in agreement on the amended language. And again, Mr. President, I move that the adoption of the House substitute.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Augusta? Senator Hanger rise. For no purpose, okay. Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1432 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that we concur with the House substitute. Speaking to that,
the floor.
These are technical changes to an otherwise good bill that simply moved the operational language to another section of the code.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 0.
Ayes 38, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1434 has passed the House with amendment.
The junior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that we accept this technical amendment to Senate Bill 1434 that just corrects a typo.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendment.
Senate Bill 1464 has passed the House with amendments.
Senator from Prince William County, Senator McPike.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can Senate Bill 1464 go by for the day?
Without objection, Senate Bill 1464 will go by for the day.
Senate Bill 1490 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move that with the recommendation that it be rejected, I move that we concur with the House substitute.
Senator, want to speak to that?
This needs to go to conference.
Good enough. The question, with the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1509 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Grayson, Senator Carrico.
Mr. President, I ask that we concur with the House amendment. It just is clarifying.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1519 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Grayson, Senator Carrico.
Mr. President, I move that we reject the substitute as for a committee of conference.
Okay. We'll do that. With the recommendation that it be rejected, question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1557 has passed the House with amendments.
Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we concur with the House amendments.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. The House amendments just strike some language that doesn't affect the meaning of the bill. It actually was in the enactment clause to stay away from the language medical marijuana, with which the House was uncomfortable, but it gets to the same end.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendments.
Senate Bill 1575 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Evan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we reject the House substitute and speak to that motion.
Senator has the floor.
The House merely established a work group rather than dealing with the career and technical education dual enrollment issue head on. With that, I renew my motion that we reject the House substitute.
Thank the senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1593 has passed the House with amendment.
Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the recommendation that we reject the amendments, I move that we concur.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, this one-word edit of my bill substantially changes it and exposes an enormous number of students in Virginia to be at risk for not fully understanding how much they will end up in debt after college. So that needs to go to conference. Again, I move we reject as we concur.
Thank the senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House amendment.
Senate Bill 1596 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the recommendation that we concur with the substitute, I move so.
Senator, want to speak to that? Oh, the mic's not working. Perfect. All right, let's move forward. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1598 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. With a working mic, I will say, unlike the prior bill where the amendments were all agreed to, in this bill, I would move that we reject the amendments as I make the ultimate motion to concur. These amendments are something that need to be worked out in a conference.
Thank the senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 38.
Ayes 0, noes 38. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1610 passed the House with amendments.
Senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Mr. President, I move the Senate accept the House amendments. And speaking to that,
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, the House wanted to ensure that this language was located on the front page of a deed, so they delineated that.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from James City County, Senator Norman Rise? Okay, none. Okay. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendments.
Senate Bill
Mr. President.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. On some of these House amendments or substitutes that are coming over, they truly are technical in nature. Sometimes they change a semicolon to a colon or move something from one page to another. But I would say, and remind everyone, this can be a fairly treacherous period of time as these bills are coming through. And I would encourage the patrons where it is more than just a technical change to explain that amendment a little more fully so that there's no question in anybody's mind about what they're voting on.
Thank you, Senator.
Senate Bill 1611 is passed the House with amendments.
Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the motion that we concur with the amendments, I move so and would like to speak to them.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you very much. These amendments seek to make the shared savings bill just more inclusive and also to move back the start date to July, which was necessary to get consensus from all of the different health plans so that they could participate fully.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendments.
Senate Bill 1617 is passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the recommendation that we reject it, I move that we concur with the House substitute.
Senator has the floor.
Speaking to them, this is the bill that deals with the Tech Talent Investment Program. There are several differences that we feel like we can work out in the conference committee. Thank you.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1628 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the recommendation that we reject the substitute, I move we concur and speak to that.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, this bill works to address performance agreements with universities outside of the 6-year plan, and the House and the Senate have very different visions of how that will proceed. And so they have basically replaced my bill with theirs, and I'm going to reject that so we can go to conference and work out something we all agree on. So I move we reject as we can.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1651 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howe.
Thank you, Mr. President. I also ask that we reject the House substitute. This bill deals with reorganizing several of our research and development agencies. We have quite different views on how to do this, and it needs to go to conference.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 2, noes 37.
Ayes 2, noes 37. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1661 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake.
Yes, sir, Mr. President. With the recommendation that it be rejected, I ask that we concur with the House substitute.
Senator, has the floor.
Speaking to the issue, Mr. President, as they so often do, the grammarians down the hall have tried to amend this bill and have made it much, much worse. The Senate version contains 2 technical amendments that make this a much stronger bill. The stakeholders prefer this bill, and once again, I ask that we reject the House amendments.
Thank the senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1662 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we accept the committee substitute from the House.
Senator has the floor.
And speaking to that measure, with the exception, this makes this bill identical to the bill that we talked about yesterday dealing with energy efficiency issues and how the State Corporation Commission deals with them.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1669 has passed the House with amendment.
The senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that we concur with the House amendment.
Thank you, Senator. You want to speak to that?
No. No, we should always, Mr. President, just do what Senator Vogel tells us to do. Actually, it again just rips off the clause and puts it in perfect form, and so she's asking us all to accept and concur with the House amendment. I so move.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendment.
Senate Bill 1696 has passed the House with amendment.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we accept the House amendment and speak in that measure.
Thanks, Senator. You have the floor.
This bill deals with the issuance of pay stubs for all employees. The agricultural industry and the forestry industry asked that they have an additional clause be added to it that says at the request of the employee that will be provided. And with that explanation, I renew my motion to accept the House amendment.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendment.
Senate Bill 1703 has passed the House with amendment.
Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the recommendation that the House amendment be rejected, I move that the Senate concur with the House amendment. And speaking briefly to that.
Senator has the floor.
The House amendment removes the financial contingency clause. There's still some discussion going on between Senate Finance and House Appropriations. And so by rejecting this amendment, we can allow that I anticipated action, which we're not supposed to anticipate what the other chamber will do, but they will insist on their version, and it will go to conference, and we can continue that discussion there. So I hope, again, that the Senate will reject concurring with the House amendment that I have moved.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 0, noes 39.
Ayes 0, noes 39. The Senate does not concur with the House amendment.
Senate Bill 1722 has passed the House with amendments.
Senator from Southern Fairfax, Senator Barker.
Mr. President, I move that we concur with the House amendment. And speaking to that,
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President and members of the Senate, this proposes 4-line amendment changes to the bill. One of those is to remove a date reference that is in the code right now that was relevant when the code section was originally adopted 9 years ago, but is irrelevant now. So it was no problem removing that. The other 3 changes are grammatical changes, and I'm agnostic on grammar as long as the bill does what I want it to do. So hope we would concur with that. So,
thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendments? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The Senate concurs with the House amendments.
Senate Bill 1734 has passed the House with a substitute.
Senator from Bath, Senator Deeds.
Mr. President, I move that we concur with this declaratory substitute. And speaking to that,
Senator has the floor.
These are technical amendments that were suggested by the Bureau of Insurance. Don't change the nature of the bill. The amendments don't create a Christmas tree. They're just designed to make sure that the consumer has tools in the toolbox to figure out how rates are set. I hope you'll agree to the substitute. And by the way, this puts it in identical form to House Bill 2770 that passed this chamber yesterday, 40-0.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the Senate concur with the House substitute? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0.
Ayes 38, no 0. The Senate concurs with the House substitute.
Senate Bill 1775 has passed the House with amendment.
Senator from Grayson, Senator Carrico.
Good morning, Mr. President. Now that I'm awake, 1775. I ask that we concur with the House amendment, and this is clarifying in nature, and I'll tell you why. I'm not sure that we have a commission of highways. This now says we have a commissioner of highways. I ask that we can concur with the House amendments.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate concur with the House amendment? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. The Senate concurs with the House amendment.
Senate Bill 1031, we are awaiting House action on that, and Senate Bill 1044 and the remainder in that section. Page 23, uncontested calendar, House bills on third reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll see if we can move forward a little more expediently. Mr. President, I would now move all the House bills on the third reading of the uncontested calendar, including all House bills on pages 23 through 45, including House Bill 1925 through House Bill 2809, that they be placed on their final passage in the block after the adoption of any amendments. Any senator who may desire to remove a House bill from the block should please do so after the clerk has read the number of that bill.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall House bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 23 through 45, House Bill 1925 through House Bill 2809, be placed upon their final passage in a block after the adoption of any amendments thereto, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in a block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
House Bill 1925, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2230, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2477, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor. House Bill 2538, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor.
Mr. President.
Senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Could House Bill 2538 come out of the block and go by for the day? We're just trying to line some things up with what's going on in the House.
Without objection, House Bill 2538 will come out of the block and go by for the day.
Mr. President, over here.
Oh, Senator from Eastern Fairfax, Senator Servell.
Could House Bill 2477 come out of the block and go by for the day? We're trying to get some more information on that, too.
And that was 2477?
Yes, sir. And Mr. President.
Without objection, that bill be removed from the block and go by for the day.
Could House Bill 2230 come out of the block and go by for the day? The Bureau of Insurance is waiting to get back to me for some analysis on that.
Without objection, House Bill 2230 will come out of the block and go by for the day.
House Bill 1614, reported from the Committee on Local Government with a substitute.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 1649, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 1698, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 1719, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. House Bill 1730, reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor, and there is a floor amendment.
Senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would make the motion to waive the reading of the floor amendment.
Thanks, Senator. The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of waiving the reading will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that the floor amendment pass. Speaking to that.
Senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I referenced earlier on a bill, my bill for foster care freeze 1253, that there was some discussion about maybe being misaligned with federal code with regard to whether or not they could freeze from 16 to 18 age range, and this would allow us, by adding a floor amendment, to get it into conference, and I so would request.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the floor amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is adopted.
House Bill 1766, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 1790, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. House Bill 1804, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 1866, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 1893, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 1895, reported from the Committee on Local Government with amendments.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that the committee amendments be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 1913, reported from the Committee on Local Government, and there is a floor substitute.
Yes.
Senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake.
Mr. President, yes. I move that the floor substitute, the reading of the floor substitute be waived.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the reading of the floor substitute be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor substitute is waived. Senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Now, speaking to the amendment in the nature of a substitute.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, it saddens me to inform you and the body that I have been shabbily treated by the group down the hall. And I know this may come as a shock to many. In fact, Senator from Bath advised me he had received the same treatment just before my bill was summarily killed. We had a similar bill, Mr. President and members of the body. In my bill, they did not conform it. They simply killed it. Unfortunately, this bill was not conformed to my bill. So in order to uphold the honor, the integrity, and yes, the sovereignty of the Virginia State Senate, I ask that this amendment in the form of substitute be agreed to by this body.
I love it. The question is, shall the floor substitute be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Chair is uncertain. We'll have a recorded vote. I'm kidding, Senator Stanley. The floor substitute is adopted.
House Bill 1920, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 1936, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 1942, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with amendments and from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger. Senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would make the motion that we agree to the committee amendments.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to.
House Bill 1963, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 1965, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 1973, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology and from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 1986, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2002, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2022, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2046, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. House Bill 2052, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2061, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2139, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2148, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. House Bill 2173, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance.
Who's fielding this one?
Newman.
Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I move that the substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2185, reported from the Committee on Finance with a substitute.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2224, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2272, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2286, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2305, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2311, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology and from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2316, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2337, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance with a substitute.
Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, with a recommendation to be rejected, I move that we agree with the committee substitute so that we may get to the substitute from Finance.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee substitute from the Committee on Education and Health be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The noes have it. Committee substitute is rejected. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the committee substitute from the Committee on Finance be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute from the Committee on Finance be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2375, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2406, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2420, reported from the Committee on Local Government.
Mr. President.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Can that come out of the block?
Was that 2420?
2420.
Okay. And do you want it to go by for the day or just out of the block?
Just out of the block.
Okay. Thanks, Senator. Without objection, House Bill 2420 will come out of the block.
House Bill 2490, reported from the Committee on Finance with a substitute.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2497, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2569, reported from the Committee on Local Government, and there is a floor amendment.
Senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we waive the reading of the floor amendment.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived. Senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Mr. President. What this amendment does is it merely adds the phrase "and all other applicable local ordinances." This will enable the zoning administrator to approve family day home applications if they meet all local zoning ordinances. It's a way to really expedite the approval of family day homes. With that explanation, I ask that the amendment be agreed to.
Thank the senator. Question is, shall the floor amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 2572, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2577, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2585, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2597, reported from the Committee for Courts of Justice with a substitute.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2620, reported from the Committee on Education and Health with a substitute, and from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to.
House Bill 2621, reported for the Committee on Local Government with amendment.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the committee amendment be agreed to.
Thank the senator. Thank the senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to.
House Bill 2625, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. House Bill 2660, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2670, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2681, reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with amendment, and from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the committee amendments.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted.
House Bill 2739, reported from the Committee on Finance. House Bill 2740, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2779, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2807, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2808, reported from the Committee on Local Government. House Bill 2809, reported from the Committee on Local Government.
Question is, shall the House bills pass in a block? That is all bills except for House Bills 2538, 2477, 2230, and 2420. All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The bills in the block pass.
Returning to page 38, House Bill 2420.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that House Bill 2420 pass. And speaking to that,
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, House Bill 2420 is a bill which addresses a very narrow issue in a very small area of the code, and especially a situation where a home builder had built a wall. That wall, he was told by the government officials that no permit was needed on that wall. And then thereafter, when he built the wall, some years later, the zoning officials came back and said,
Gentleman, yield for a question.
I was just to get to the punchline.
Will the senator yield?
Mr. President, not
Who's
before I say this. The locality said, Mr. Homeowner, tear down that wall. Now I will yield for a question.
Senator has the floor.
I would ask the gentleman, who's going to pay for that wall?
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, since this wall is in Harrisonburg, I'm going to say Stanton will pay for this wall. It's about time we had a debate about a wall here in Virginia right here, right? Mr. President, so what this really does is say, look, if you built the wall and they said you could build the wall and then years later they changed their mind and say tear down that wall, you can keep your wall. You can put mulch around that wall, and it is then found to be a non-conforming use. So, from the annals of what other strange things can happen in Harrisonburg, Virginia, Stanton, Virginia, I now move once again and renew my motion that HB 2420 pass so that we can keep the wall.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall House Bill 2420 pass? All in favor of the motion record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 1, Rule 36, 1.
Ayes 35, noes 1, Rule 36, 1. House Bill 2420 passes.
Regular calendar, House bills on third reading. House Bill 1634, a bill relating to an additional local sales and use tax in Halifax County. Appropriations of Halifax County to incorporated towns for educational purposes. Reported from the Committee on Finance with an amendment.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 1634 will go by for the day.
House Bill 1650, a bill relating to Virginia lottery, disclosure of identity of winners. The committee substitute has been adopted by the Senate.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that we reconsider the Senate substitute that we adopted yesterday.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the vote by which the substitute was adopted be reconsidered? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, noes 0. The motion is agreed to. Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we reject the Senate substitute. Rejecting that will put this in the same form as House Bill 1650, which has already passed both the House and the Senate.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee substitute...
Mr. President, I'm sorry. Senate Bill 1060, excuse me.
Okay.
If we reject the Senate amendment, substitute, it will put it in the same form as Senate Bill 1060, which has already passed both the House and the Senate.
Okay, great. So with the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee substitute be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The noes have it. Committee substitute is rejected.
Mr. President, I move that House Bill 1650 be reported. That be
passed.
Yes, passed.
Okay. Does anyone speak to that?
This is the bill that deals with the lottery winnings and removes the requirement that that you have to tell the public if the winner chooses to keep his name and address out of the appeal, out of the news release.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall House Bill 1650 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, noes 5.
Ayes 34, noes 5. House Bill 1650 passes.
House Bill 2339, a bill relating to the Department of Taxation, sharing information with the Department of Social Services. Reported from the Committee on Finance, and there is a floor substitute.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would first move that we waive the reading of the floor amendment, the floor substitute.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the reading of the floor substitute be waived? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor substitute is waived. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that we adopt the floor substitute. And speaking to that,
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, this bill, House Bill 2339, The underlying bill would authorize the Department of Taxation to share certain tax information with the Department of Social Services with a written agreement to administer outreach and enrollment in certain low-income taxpayer programs, child support services, and public assistance. The bill, as it came out of the Finance Committee, the senator from Hanover had some concerns that the way it was written was too broad, and the substitute basically corrects that to make it specifically on line 4, lines 95, that this would authorize the sharing of information under certain circumstances for Forms W-2 and 1099 to facilitate the administration of public assistance or social services benefits or child support services. So I hope it would be the pleasure of the Senate to adopt the floor substitute.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2339? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2339 pass? I'm sorry, the floor substitute. Shall the floor substitute be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor substitute is adopted.
Thank you,
from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. With that explanation of the underlying bill and the floor substitute, I would move that the bill pass.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall House Bill 2339 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. House Bill 2339 passes.
House Bill 1615, a bill relating to elections, date of June primary election. Reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
Senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ask the bill passed. And speaking to that,
thank you, Senator. You have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, we heavily debated this bill early on when we had the Senate same bill that failed to pass this chamber. But this basically takes the second Tuesday in June from the primary day to the third, so the schools will be out of session at that point. So, Mr. President, without further questions, that's the bill.
Thank you, Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Eastern Fairfax? Senator Surville rise.
Speaking to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, this bill hasn't changed at all since we rejected it last time. As I said last time, as soon as school's out, people go on vacation. And this bill isn't going to do anything except have it's going to reduce primary turnout at our already incredibly low turnout primaries. 25% of the voting population is over age 60, and this bill basically just benefits that group. With the bill, I know there's some concerns about schools and the conflicts because of the security of schools. We just passed a bill which is going to make it more likely that more schools will start earlier, which means that I think a lot of these schools are going to be done and over with by the time we have these primaries. So I think these concerns are going to go away, and they're overblown, to be honest. And I just don't think we ought to be passing bills that are going to minimize turnout in these primaries. And nothing about this bill has changed since we killed it last time. I hope we still vote red on it.
Thanks, Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Northwestern Fairfax? Senator Boysko rise.
Mr. President, with all respect of my colleague from
Eastern Fairfax,
excuse me. I've had conversations with our electoral board in Fairfax County. They very much want this bill and are very supportive of it, as am I. I think the security concerns, the logistics of getting students to school and then getting the voters into the proper doors, dealing with school buses and other logistical problems, this bill makes a lot of sense. I voted against it in the original Senate bill. I'm going to be changing my vote to support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 1615?
Mr. President.
Senator from Northern Chesapeake.
Thank you, Mr. President. Speaking to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to support the bill, Mr. President, because let me use in Chesapeake, for example. We are having a hard time trying to find locations for the polling places because of why school is open, that you have to walk down the hall while in classroom to get to some of these places. So now they're asking us to leave out of the school because of that. Everybody's not in Virginia, and I like where my brother Scott from the other Virginia, we don't go on vacation, we vote. So I ask y'all to please vote for this bill.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 1615? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 1615 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 11, noes 28.
Ayes 11, noes 28. House Bill 1615 fails.
House Bill 1620, a bill relating to State Board of Elections membership, appointment of Commissioner of Elections. Reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with a substitute.
Who's going to field this one? Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would respectfully ask that House Bill 1620 be passed by for the day, sir.
Thank the Senator. Without objection, House Bill 1620 will go by for the day.
House Bill 1661, a bill relating to the formation of a benefits consortium by a sponsoring association acting as a nonprofit agricultural organization. Reported from the Committee on Commerce and Labor with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Mr. President, I move we adopt the committee substitute.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be adopted? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is adopted. Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. And what House Bill 1661 does is set up a benefits consortium for the purpose of health care costs and allowing them to pool together. These are your farmers, your small farmers from around the Commonwealth being able to pool their resources together and go out and seek as a team better rates on health insurance. And with that explanation, I renew the motion. I ask that the bill pass.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 1661? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 1661 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, noes 4.
Ayes 35, noes 4. House Bill 1661 passes.
House Bill 1702, a bill relating to the Library of Virginia disposition of official correspondence of the governor. Reported from the Committee on General Laws and Technology with amendment and from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff.
Mr. President, I move that the committee amendment be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to. Senator from Mecklenburg, Senator Ruff. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. That last pass through finance, I'd be glad to speak to that bill.
Senator has the floor.
The General Laws Committee added the financial contingency clause. This bill is identical now to the bill sponsored by the senator from Roanoke County, which would expedite the availability of official correspondence of the governor. It does have the financial contingency clause on it, and I would move for its passage.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 1702? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 1702 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. House Bill 1702 passes.
House Bill 1960, a bill relating to alcoholic beverage control, licensed distillers, manufacturer, and sale of low alcohol beverage cooler. Reported from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I've moved that the bill pass, and speaking to that.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. This bill deals with what is referred to as wine coolers. Currently, the way our Virginia law is written, people from out of state can sell their products in Virginia, but we had no mechanism for products to be manufactured in Virginia to be sold in Virginia. This bill corrects that. It would have some positive revenue impact. I move its passage.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 1960? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 1960 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. House Bill 1960 passes.
House Bill 2012, a bill relating to Industrial Development Authority, King William County, reported from the Committee on Local Government.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that House Bill 2012 pass. And speaking to that motion,
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. House Bill 2012 allows for King William County to expand the board of their Industrial Development Authority from 7 to, get this, 9 members. So for those reasons, I renew my motion that HB 2012 pass.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2012? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2012 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. House Bill 2012 passes.
House Bill 2033, a bill relating to terms into or out of certain residential areas, resident permits, reported from the Committee on Local Government.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Mr. President, I move that House Bill 2033 pass. And speaking to that motion,
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, as the members of the Senate who sit on local government know, it is a very controversial committee that we have. We're expanding IDAs from 7 to 9, and this one right here took us a long time to figure out. This allows, in certain residential areas, in particular Fairfax County, where we term it as an urban county executive form of government, to allow them by ordinance to develop programs where they can issue permits or stickers to residents of designated areas and neighborhoods that will allow such residents to make turns into or out of the designated area during certain times of the day where such turns, ladies and gentlemen, might otherwise be restricted. We had a great debate about this bill, Mr. President. Some said liberty, freedom. Some said traffic, congestion, safety. But after that debate, it passed out of our committee 11 to 1, or as we like to say, 11 to chase. And therefore, I'm sorry, correction, Mr. President, it was 11 to de-Steph, not 11 to chase. It goes either way all the time. So for those reasons, Mr. President, I renew my motion that House Bill 2033 pass.
Thank the senator. For what purpose, Senator from Northern Chesapeake? Senator Spruill rise.
Mr. President. Would the gentleman please rise for a question?
Will Senator rise for a question?
Mr. President, can Senator Steph answer that question in my stead?
No.
No, it has to be you.
I yield. I will always
yield. Yields. You have the floor.
Is this for Virginia or is this for the other Virginia?
Mr. President, I'd answer my friend, the gentleman from Northern Chesapeake, as saying this is for the other Virginia. And what we call Northern Virginia.
Further question?
Where I grew up.
Excellent. You got it. You got it. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2033? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2033 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 32, noes 7.
Ayes 32, noes 7. House Bill 2033 passes.
House Bill 2034, a bill relating to General Registrar's petition for removal, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with an amendment.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, can this go by for the day?
Without objection, House Bill 2034 will go by for the day.
House Bill 2141, a bill relating to local services districts, broadband and telecommunications services, reported from the Committee on Local Government with amendments.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. On HB 2141, I now move that we agree to the committee amendments.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendments be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are agreed to. Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. In that local government controversial committee that we have another bill here as it relates to local service districts and broadband and telecommunication services. What we have here, Mr. President, is a bill which seeks to allow for contracting with a broadband service provider who will construct, maintain, and own communication facilities and equipment required to facilitate delivery of last-mile broadband, especially into underserved areas of Virginia and within that service district, provided that the locality documents that less than 10% of the residential and commercial units within the project area are capable of receiving broadband. So what this tries to do is allow and empower our local governments to contract with private broadband service providers in order to try to achieve what we've been trying to do in the Tobacco Commission in the South Side and Southwest Virginia, which is bringing the last mile of broadband into rural and underserved and inner city communities. So for those reasons, Mr. President, I renew my motion that HB 2141 pass.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on HB 2141? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2141 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0. Rule 36. Rule 36-1.
Ayes 38, no 0. Rule 36-1. House Bill 2141 passes.
House Bill 2178, a bill relating to the Virginia voter registration system, security plans and procedures, remedying the security risk, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with an amendment.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, can that go by for the day?
Without objection, House Bill 2178 will go by for the day.
House Bill 2204, a bill relating to polling place procedures, full residence address of voter not announced, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I'd ask that that go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 2204 will go by for the day.
House Bill 2260, a bill relating to health insurance catastrophic plans, reported from the Committee on Finance.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. What House Bill 2260 does is provide for catastrophic health care plans to be offered on the exchange. These plans must comply with the essential health benefits package as defined by Federal Code 42-18022. It also must meet the minimum requirements of 42 U.S.C. It's an opportunity, directs the State Corporation Commission to seek from CMS a waiver to provide these as part of our exchange package, and the bill doesn't take effect until such CMS grants such waiver. With that explanation, I move the bill pass.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2260? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2260 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 29, noes 10.
Ayes 29, noes 10. House Bill 2260 passes.
House Bill 2310, a bill relating to local floodplain regulation, reported from the Committee on Local Government with amendment.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that House Bill 2310 pass. And speaking to that motion.
Does the Senator want to move the committee amendments first?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Sorry. I now move that the committee amendments be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to. Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that House Bill 2310 pass. And speaking to that motion.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, House Bill 2310 pertains to local floodplain regulations, and it authorizes our local governments to regulate the activity on or use or even the development of a floodplain in a manner consistent with any state or federal regulation already in place or any state or federal management programs and the requirements that come with those management programs. The bill, which we had some discussion on, The bill also provides that these provisions will be given retroactive as well as prospective effect. That means when we talk about retroactive, going back into the past, not just, as most bills are here, forward-looking, forward-leaning, and you can act on it from this moment forward when we put in, that those localities can then retroactively administer these floodplain areas in their districts, in their regions, in their localities retroactively. For those reasons, Mr. President, I renew my motion that HB 2310 pass.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2310? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2310 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their... Senator from King George, Senator Stewart.
Would the gentleman resume the floor for a question?
Senator yield for a question?
Yes, Mr. President, I will yield.
Senator Yields, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So I would ask the Senator, with regard to this retroactive language, to what extent could they reverse activity that had been done on this property how many years back?
Mr. President, I would answer the gentleman by saying that was part of the concerns that we had. One of the reasons why in committee I voted against this bill and forced myself to stand up here and speak to it. Ultimately, the retroactivity is rarely, if ever, used in law. We usually are always prospectively looking out and looking forward. So because of the generality in which this is made, what concerns me is that someone who may have put a piece of a building on a piece of property that's in a floodplain that was permitted at the time, based on state or federal regulations that may change, may have that locality then turn around and say, you got to get that off your property.
Further question? So, Mr. President, the next question then, which I anticipated that answer is this not an unconstitutional taking of private property without just compensation?
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I answered the gentleman by saying, man, that sounded good. Like a lawyer.
Mr. President.
Mr. President, I would say...
Hold on. Senator has the floor. Do you yield?
I would say that to the gentleman, Mr. President, that question was brought up in local government, and at least from the people that testified, they said no, that it was not an unconstitutional taking.
No. Speaking to this briefly...
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I'm not aware of well, I can't recall a statute since I've been here that we've adopted retroactive effect, with the exception of perhaps some Supreme Court rulings where maybe folks felt like they hadn't interpreted a law correctly that the General Assembly had adopted. But I mean, what you're looking at here is the ability of governmental agencies to come in, if we pass this, and say what you did on that property, no longer, you don't get to do that anymore. It takes away the grandfathering. If I'm reading it correctly, it takes away the grandfathered, or whatever use of that property. And in this country and in this state, we don't allow the government to take your property without just compensation. And I think this is clearly unconstitutional, and I'm really shocked it even made it to the floor. I hope we'll vote against it.
Thanks, Senator. Well, for one person, Senator from Accomack, Senator Lewis, right?
Mr. President, could that go by for the day?
Without objection, House Bill 2310 will go by for the day.
House Bill 2324, a bill relating to major information technology project procurement, terms and conditions, limitation of liability provisions. Reported from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hager.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill pass and speak to that.
Thanks, Senator. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. This bill is identical to a bill patroned by the senator from Mecklenburg. What it does is requires in a contract for major information technology projects that the terms and conditions relating to the indemnification obligations and liability of a contractor be reasonable and not exceed twice the value of the contract in aggregate. It also sets up a process for evaluating the risk and provides certain exceptions then based on the risk. If there are additional questions, the Senator, the Chairman of General Laws, is more knowledgeable than I on this, but I would move the bill pass.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2324? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2324 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 34, noes 4.
Ayes 34, noes 4. House Bill 2324 passes.
House Bill 2342, a bill relating to conditional rezoning proffers. Reported from the Committee on Local Government.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that HB 2342 pass. And speaking to that motion,
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, House Bill 2342 is identical to the bill that Senator Favola, the senator from Arlington, worked so hard on and got an agreement between the home builders and the localities. She really worked very hard on modifying the existing proffer bill that was passed out of here a couple years ago. And from that agreement, I think we have peace in the valley with everybody. So this is nothing more than a bill that conforms to her hard work and is reflective of a bill that was passed out here earlier before crossover. For those reasons, and without telling you what's in it, I now move that House Bill 2342 passes so that when we pass it, we can find out what's in it. Thank you.
Thank the senator. What purpose, Senator from Rockingham? Senator Obenshain rise.
Mr. President, I rise to speak in opposition to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, I won't repeat the debate that we had before, but I just want to remind the members what this does. I mean, this guts the proffer legislation that we adopted 2 years ago that actually established some equilibrium between local governments and what they could charge to developers. This basically, or home builders, what this does is it allows the largest of the large home builders to buy rezonings. The small guy isn't going to have that opportunity. It rewards the bad behavior of a handful of localities that are sitting on hundreds of millions of dollars of proffer funds. It allows localities to charge proffers, cash proffers, for improvements that have nothing to do with the increased burden that the new development or the new homes are going to place on local infrastructure, and it has the impact of forcing development out into regions like mine. It increases the cost of homes in areas with significant cash proffers, and it would just be my hope that people who voted against this would vote against it again and let people know that we're watching. We believe that some equilibrium had been established and that this is the wrong direction to allow the purchase of rezonings.
Thanks, Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Arlington? Senator Favola rise.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to speak strongly and enthusiastically in favor of the bill.
Senator has the floor.
With all due respect to my colleague, the senator from Rockingham, I would submit that not everybody believed we had reached a point of equilibrium. So what this bill did was really provide an opportunity for those builders who were putting in applications in some of our high-growth regions where there are usually sector plans with a vision articulated on how the local government wants the community to grow. It would enable those developers at the developer's option to opt out or to ask for a waiver out of the construct of this very narrow proffer bill, so the developer could participate in a partnership fashion in helping the community meet that vision. We needed this valve. There are some high-growth communities that are trying to manage growth. They're trying to protect our natural resources. They're trying to protect open space. And they're trying to manage infrastructure at the same time. And this valve was needed, and that's what this bill does. But again, it's optional. And the other part of this bill is it really allows communication with local government officials, which had come to a halt. The previous bill had been so restrictive that localities were not even discussing applications when a developer went ahead and submitted an application. This had a very chilling effect. Developers like certainty. They don't like taking risks. They like to see the tea leaves. They like the lay of the land before they put a fair amount of money into creating these applications. So we, again, made some minor amendments to allow communication between local governments and the developers in their community to actually get back on a normal track. So with those comments, I sincerely hope that the body can pass this bill. Thank you very much.
Thank the senator. For what purpose is the senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw, rise?
Mr. President, I was pretty heavily involved in the bill several years ago, and we thought we were doing, the right thing at that time. We exempted commercial development from the bill. Those that were in transportation districts were exempted from the bill. But as it turned out, local governments, particularly those in the high growth areas, essentially felt that they couldn't talk to any builders or developer that came in for a rezoning or for an application. I guess to put it in, and both of them came to me saying we need to do something about I think it was the 2016 or 16 law. And I guess to put it in the simplest terms, the builders who pushed this original bill, they discovered they couldn't build, and the local governments discovered they couldn't extort, and they reached an accommodation. And the accommodation is the bill that you have in front of you that is, allows for, those that want to opt out of that and sit down, have a discussion, and keep things moving to do just that. So, and while I strongly supported the bill, as did a lot of people in here several years ago, we need to modify it, and that's what this does. I would hope you all would vote for the bill.
Senator, for what purpose is the junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeSteff, rise?
Mr. President, speaking against the bill.
Senator has the floor.
And I'm very glad that the senator from Fairfax actually just said this would allow local governments to extort, because that's what was happening. You want affordable housing, you don't want this bill. This adds to the cost of housing. It gets transferred and continually gets transferred to the homeowners. So if you want affordable housing, you want to vote against this bill. Thank you.
Thank the senator. For what purpose is senior senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove, rise?
Speak to the bill, Mr. President.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some of us came from local government before we came here, and in Chesapeake, I served on the city council for a period of years. I don't understand what's wrong with the boards of supervisors or city councils in the northern part of the state, because Chesapeake has rezonings. I mean, it's already happening. If they all want to come down and take rezoning lessons from us, we'll be glad to entertain y'all. But I guess my point is, it was a point well made. Let's understand the proffers that were being required of builders before. $50,000, $60,000 per lot in Northern Virginia and in the Richmond area. So Senator Obenshain carried that bill several years ago. It's working. If it ain't broke, let's don't fix it. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Loudoun, Senator Black, rise?
Speak in favor of the measure.
Senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I also voted for the original proffer bill. I think it was well taken. There were excesses that were occurring around the Commonwealth, and I applaud the gentleman for introducing that bill. The problem is there were unintended consequences of it. We went way too far, and in quite a number of places across the state. It wasn't just in Northern Virginia, but it was particularly in Northern Virginia. We reached a situation where the county attorneys were advising members of the Board of Supervisors, do not sit down and speak with a developer about a project in your district because you're going to end up in court. And so we literally, in Loudoun County and in Prince William County, we have literally frozen. I mean, the gears, a crowbar was jammed in the gears and the whole system has stopped. We don't have rezonings. And there are other places in the state that are experiencing similar problems. There's no doubt that there are elements of the original bill that needed to be kept, and I think they have been kept. The bill went back and forth, and honestly, I think both for the developers and for the local governments, the key, sort of the gem that had to be achieved was to reach a point where a developer can sit down with his supervisor and say, hey, look, I've got this project. Let me show you what I'm thinking about. Now, under the old rules, if that developer offered something that turned out to be an unreasonable proffer under the law, if the supervisor just said, wow, that would really be a good deal for my district, all of a sudden he could end up in court, and the county could end up on the hook for an unreasonable request, and without them even initiating it. So there were some very, very difficult situations that were developed by that bill, and I think this has closed the gap to where both I know the Home Builders Association has come out in favor of it. After much debate, the localities are for it. Now, neither one of them says this is perfect, but as we all know, that's kind of where we want to get. But in reading it, although there were some things that I thought should have been in it, I believe that supervisors and the developers can safely sit down without worrying about being dragged into court. And that really is what we need. So I strongly support that bill. I'm not a huge developer or a huge environmentalist, but the system has got to work. The system has got to work. You've got to have a means of making things happen, and I think this does it. I think this bill will cause the system to move forward. So I encourage you to support it.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Eastern Fairfax? Senator Surville rise.
Speaking of the bill really quick.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's a couple things. I'm going to vote for this bill very unhappily, but as an institution, I just think we need to take note of a couple things that happened in this scenario. Number one of the localities that I live in requested a bunch of changes to the bill and then immediately went out and bashed it after we passed it. And, I think we need to take note if locality is going to negotiate with us that way, I think we need to remember that for the future, number one. Number two, after the bill passed, I felt like what happened was a lot of localities sort of bound together and just sort of decided they weren't going to follow. They were just going to shut everything down and try and smoke out a change, like a bunch of petulant children, okay? And I think we need to not let them tell us how to make the law. We make the law, not the localities. And so for the future, we just need to make sure that this doesn't happen again, because the way this went down, I didn't like the way it went down at all. I felt like There was a lot of sky is falling talk that was going on in these localities. The idea that developers would all of a sudden start suing the entities that have to approve their projects, I can't think of a better way to destroy their business model. I mean, they have to be able to work with local governments. They're not going to sue them all the time. They'll never get any projects approved. So I just thought there was a lot of sky is falling rhetoric, a lot of nonsensical worry about this, about the bill that was passed. But, you know, the wisdom of the body says we got to move this along and make some tweaks. We will. But I just think institutionally we need to remember what happened over the last 2 years after this bill was passed so we don't get pushed around again, which I feel like is what's happening here.
Thank you, Senator. For what purpose does the Senator from Prince William County, Senator McPike, rise?
Mr. President, I rise to speak to the measure.
Senator, has the floor.
Wish we didn't necessarily exacerbate the debate and extend it beyond what we had also in our Senate. And I didn't speak to this bill while I was in the Senate version, but I will speak to it now based on some of the comments today. I'm voting no today on the bill, but not for the reasons from the Senator from Harrisonburg spoke to. I think the bill that we passed several years ago, that bill stunk, frankly. So just for the record, I didn't like that one and I voted against it. This one has a bunch of opt-outs, if you read it, provisions that maybe you apply, maybe you don't, whole bunch of set of new rules. It's better, but it still stinks. And frankly, Mr. President, the more and more I go through this, the more and more I'm liking Senator Stewart's solutions that were presented before local government. This bill continues to dig the hole. All parties involved continue to poke each other in the eye. This is a mess. It's a mess we've gotten into because the pendulum swung with the original legislation several years ago. This attempts to dig out and barely does. It's still in the hole, still with lots of opt-out provisions. And we've got a whole other set of, I think, policy matters to address as a body in the coming years, Mr. President. So I know folks have tried to cobble together this Frankenstein back from the grave, and that's what we have today on the floor. And I know parties have tried hard to figure something out, but I think there's a larger policy context in question, which is why I'm voting no.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson, rise?
Mr. President, I actually rise to speak in favor of this bill.
Senator, has the floor.
Mr. President, I hate to follow on the last couple speakers and their ringing endorsements of this legislation, but I think it's important to keep a couple things in mind. One is land use is best regulated at the local level, not here on this body. Two, it's said too many times that the perfect is the enemy of the good. Let me tell you something. Right now we have a situation, at least in my part of the state, where development is pretty much frozen. Now, we could say whether that's a rational or irrational reaction to the legislation that we passed in 2016. It may very well be irrational. But the bottom line is we all know that that legislation has a significant chilling effect on the construction industry in my part of the state. It just did, okay? So the bottom line is we got to move forward. So I'm going to vote for Barber's Law. That's what I call it. You know, that way if it's a bad idea, I don't have to big blame for it. But the bottom line is should not be a controversial bill. I think all people that follow this issue closely would like to see us pass this bill, so I hope we do. Thank you.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from Western Fairfax, Senator Marsden, rise.
Thank you, Mr. President. Speak in favor of the bill.
Senator, has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to disassociate my comments from those of the Senator from Eastern Fairfax. I do not believe that Fairfax County, also known as the F word, is not a petulant child. And, this was a difficult process. And I am reminded of the saying of Sun Tzu, never totally surround your enemy, give him a way out. Unfortunately, we surrounded local government here. And isn't it odd sometimes when we have to give local authority to local governments to do almost anything, and that sometimes they fight back? Oh, horrors. This is not a bad thing. This is not a perfect bill. We'll probably be tweaking this stuff for years. But I want you to remember that Eastern Fairfax is the home of the runaway shopping cart. So I would ask us to support the bill.
Thank the Senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2342?
Mr. President.
What purpose, Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley?
Briefly, because I love this body so much, and I will keep it brief, but what we have just witnessed here on a bill we have already argued once is that Senator Surville is now pro-development and knocking down trees, and Senator Black is now the environmentalist. So we shall call him for his last week here, Senator Green. And I renew my motion that House Bill 2342, also known as Barbara's Law, pass.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall House Bill 2342 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 28, noes 10, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 28, noes 10, Rule 36-1. House Bill 2342 passes.
House Bill 2478, a bill relating to the Virginia Stock Corporation Act. Reported from the Committee on Finance.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. President. House Bill 2478 comes to you as a result of an update from the Virginia Stock Corporation Act. This is a year-long effort from the Virginia Bar Association, their business law section, along with a team of lawyers from the State Corporation Commission working on this. I know of no opposition to the bill. It really almost represents a recodification of a very large section of the bill. And with that explanation, I move the bill pass.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2478? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2478 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, noes 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. House Bill 2478 passes.
House Bill 2485, a bill relating to Industrial Development Authority's legislative intent. Reported from the Committee on Local Government.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that House Bill 2485 pass. And speaking to this bill,
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, what 2485 basically does is make a statement and amends the code as it pertains to industrial development authorities to allow and demonstrate that it shall be a priority of the Commonwealth to grant those IDAs the power to facilitate and support landowners' access to carbon credits that you would find on these carbon markets through aggregation, which is to mean collecting and clustering different landowners together to make an aggregate so that it would be more appealing to people who would want to invest in these private capital investment in these carbon markets for any carbon credits that these landowners have. So it gives the IDAs in your localities where they're established the ability to put landowners together so they have multitude of carbon credits that they can then put out on the market and create investment from them being in a larger number than a smaller area that might be if they were sold individually. And so for those reasons, Mr. President, I renew my motion that HB 2485 pass.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2485? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2485 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. House Bill 2485 passes.
House Bill 2549, a bill relating to cluster zoning density calculation. Reported from the Committee on Local Government with amendments.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm done. I've had enough. It's Friday. I want to give a gift to my friends here in the Senate. So for those reasons, because I believe this bill, House Bill 2549, will be debate-laden, I'm going to now ask that that be passed by for the day.
Without objection?
You're welcome.
You're welcome. House Bill 2549 will go by for the day.
House Bill 2685, a bill relating to the Virginia Military Survivors and Dependents Education Program eligibility. Reported from the Committee on Education and Health with a substitute and from the Committee on Finance.
Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, I'm going to move that the substitute be agreed to and then ask that we reject that, and I'll speak to that motion, sir.
Thanks, Senator.
Mr. President, just real quickly, we had before us Senate Bill 1173, which was from the senator from Prince William, and that bill set up the framework for the fund. This bill, we adopted it to the earlier version from the senator from Prince William. If we reject this, we'll line them up, and it'll have the definitions and operation of the fund. Therefore, I hope we would reject the committee substitute.
Thank you, Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The noes have it. The committee substitute is rejected.
So this was passed clean.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask that bill go by temporarily.
Without objection, House Bill 2685 will go by temporarily.
House Bill 2686, a bill relating to Board of Zoning Appeals vote requirement. Reported from the Committee on Local Government.
Senator from Franklin County, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't believe that this one will take much debate, so I would now move that House Bill 2686 pass. And speaking to that,
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, we have, of course, zoning boards that are usually made up of volunteers in your local communities that make zoning decisions for land use. And in doing so, what you have is sometimes the schedules conflict on when someone can be available or not available for those meetings. Right now, the law in 15.2-2308 for zoning boards and boards of zoning appeals, there's a story behind that, but we're not getting into that right now, that it says that in order to take a vote, the voting requirement for those Board of Zoning Appeals decisions are from the majority of the membership. So sometimes if you have 7 members of the zoning board and 3 or 4 show up, you won't, unless it's unanimous, you cannot get anything done. So what this does is simply change it from a majority of the membership that carries a majority in a decision to a majority of the membership present and voting. So for those reasons, Mr. President, I ask that this very good bill, House Bill 2686, pass.
Thank the Senator. For what purpose, Senator from King George, Senator Stewart, rise?
Speak to the bill, Mr. President.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, the only observation I'd make about this bill, and I hate to disagree with my friend from Franklin, but this essentially means one person could make the decision. Doesn't even have a requirement for a quorum, does it? That's a little problematic, Mr. President, I think. I don't think we should vote for this bill.
Mr. President, now you see why Senator Stewart can make your day so much fun. Oh, this is a bad bill. That's what he does all the time. It's not even my bill. You know, he can plant this bomb right in the middle of the thing, right at the last minute, and you go from easy majority, no debate, to boom, bill dead. And then I got the patron, Barry Knight, coming to me going, what'd you do to my bill? And then it's my fault. It's exceptionally frustrating, Mr. President. I'm not going to take it anymore. From Senator Stewart especially. And I always realize right about this time, you know, I'm great friends with Senator Stewart, and about this time I realize, man, I hate that guy. I'm kidding. Mr. President, can HB 2686 go by for the day based on a majority of those present and voting? Let it go by.
Without objection, House Bill 2686 will go by for the day. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Humor is a marvelous thing. It is 12:16 on Friday, and the budget conferees are anxiously awaiting to do some serious business.
House Bill 2741, a bill relating to Clean Energy Advisory Board Fund Solar Installation Loan or Rebate Report Sunset. Reported from the Committee on Finance.
Senior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator Wagner.
And thank you, Mr. President. You can count on me having to explain this bill on the same senator, Senator Stewart. Also, all this bill does is set up a Clean Energy Advisory Board. It's prospective in nature. The board will be set up. There's no funds have been appropriated, but ultimately the goal is to assist low and medium income homeowners to be able to also take advantage of installing solar on the rooftop. With that explanation, I move the bill pass.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on House Bill 2741? Seeing none, the question is, shall House Bill 2741 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1. House Bill 2741 passes.
House Bill 2764, a bill relating to voter registration, persons assisting with completion or collection of completed voter registration applications, certain identifying information required. Reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I'd ask that go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 2764 will go by for the day.
Returning to page 55, House Bill 2685.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would now ask that that bill go by for the day.
Without objection, House Bill 2685 will go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar, House bills on second reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, we're having so much fun today. I was thinking perhaps Madam Clerk could read each of those bills from page 57 to 82. Mr. President, I respectfully move that all the House bills on the second reading on both the uncontested and regular calendars, including all House bills on pages 57 to 82, including House Bills 1623 through House Bill 2721, that the rules of the Senate be suspended and the second constitutional reading of the titles be dispensed with.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the second reading of the titles of House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 57 through 82, House Bill 1623 through House Bill 2721, be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, no 0.
Ayes 37, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, with great reticence, I move all the bills be passed by for the day.
I thank the senator. Question is, shall the House bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on third reading be passed by for the day? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar, House Joint Resolution on third reading.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I'd ask that go by for the day.
Each of the resolutions?
Both of them. I'm sorry.
All three. Thanks, Senator. Without objection, the resolution. Without objection, HJR 676 will go by for the day.
Regular calendar, House Joint Resolutions on third reading.
Senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I would ask that House Joint Resolution 591 and 615 go by for the day.
Thank you, Senator. Without objection, both resolutions will go by for the day. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. Inquiry of the clerk. Does that complete today's calendar other than what Senator Saslaw may take up?
Senior Senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw.
body, but I haven't voted on the prevailing side of House Bill 2260, which is on page 52. I would move that we reconsider that vote.
Okay. The question is, shall the vote by which House Bill 2260 passed be reconsidered? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 0.
Ayes 38, noes 0. The motion is agreed to. Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Thank you, Mr. President. Having previously been explained, I move the bill pass.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall House Bill 2260 pass? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senator desire to change their vote? Clerk, close the roll.
Ayes 27, noes 11.
Ayes 27, noes 11. House Bill 2260 passes. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Mr. President, inquire the clerk. Does that complete today's calendar, sir?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any other business to come before the Senate?
Mr. President.
Senior Senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you, Mr. President. I guess we need the morning hour for a request.
Without objection, return to the morning hour.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yesterday, I made a motion that we adjourn in the honor and memory of Fred Quayle, a former member of this body. Fred was a good friend to the members of the body here. He was a good friend to the members of the body down the hall. And he was a good friend to just about everybody. So I would ask that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in the honor and the memory of Frederick McDonald Quayle.
Thank the senator. So noted. Do any other senators wish to be recognized? Is there any others to come before the Senate? Seeing none, the clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Today, Friday, February 15th, the Committee on Finance will meet immediately upon adjournment at Senator Hanger's desk. Finance, immediately upon adjournment, Senator Hanger's desk. The Committee on Transportation will meet immediately upon adjournment at Senator Carrico's desk. Transportation, immediately upon adjournment at Senator Carrico's desk. Monday, February 18th, the Committee for Courts of Justice will meet at 9:30 a.m., Senate Room A, Pocahontas. The Committee on Rules will meet immediately upon adjournment of Courts of Justice at Senate Room A at Pocahontas. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m., Senate Room 2. Democratic Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m., Senate Room 1. Weekend weather report. This afternoon, the temperatures will reach the upper 60s across the Commonwealth. Rain showers will arrive late this evening that will transition into wet snow as the temperature drops early Saturday morning. Another round of rain will be possible Sunday evening with frozen precipitation in the higher elevations of northwest Virginia.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Mr. President, rise for announcement.
Senator has the floor.
The Rules Committee is going to meet immediately following courts on Monday. That will likely be about 10 o'clock or 5 minutes after 10, so make sure that that the members of Rules who are not on courts are there by 10 o'clock, please. Thank you.
Thank the Senator. Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman.
Mr. President, just rise for announcement and a motion.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, immediately upon adjournment, those members of the conference committee related to public education, we're going to meet on the 14th floor immediately upon adjournment, Mr. President. Mr. President, I now move that the Senate do now adjourn until 12 noon on Monday. And when we do so in loving remembrance of the Honorable Senator Frederick McDonald Quayle.
Thank the Senator. Question is, shall the Senate stand adjourned until 12 noon on Monday, and that when we adjourn, we do so in the honor and memory of former Senator Frederick M. Quayle. All in favor of the motion will say aye. All opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 noon on Monday.